From the moment I set foot in Eastman High, I knew I was an outsider. The school was an eclectic mix of personalities, but I was an oddity even amidst that diversity. I was Zach, a nerd with a deep fascination for the cosmos and molecular biology. I kept a low profile, finding solace in my books, the rhythm of poetry, and the magic of scientific phenomena. The other significant figure in this tale is Jackson, the school's wrestling champion. He had a magnetic presence, a raw power that seemed to attract everyone towards him. With his rugged good looks, toned physique, and that easy, smoky charm, he was impossible to ignore. Unfortunately, his attention turned towards me in the most unpleasant way. He targeted me, turning my high school life into a living nightmare. He'd corner me in the hallways, intentionally tripping me, smirking as my books scattered on the floor. He'd throw crumpled notes at me during class, each one inscribed with derogatory remarks. He'd make me the punchline of his jokes, his laughter echoing around me like a bitter symphony. His bullying was ruthless and relentless. Despite the torment, my eyes were inevitably drawn towards him. It was self-inflicted torture, admiring the man who made my life hell. His stormy blue eyes always held a defiant sparkle, like an untamed ocean. His hair, a golden brown mess, always seemed perfectly out of place. His strong jawline, the curve of his lips, the broad expanse of his shoulders, they made me weak. His raw physicality, combined with the intense vulnerability I thought I saw in his fleeting, softer glances, haunted me. One day, Jackson took his bullying too far. It was in the locker room after gym class when he drenched me with cold water, laughing as I shivered uncontrollably. But this time, something in his eyes flickered as he took in my mortified expression. For the first time, I saw unmistakable regret wash over his face. In the chilling aftermath of the locker room incident, a tangible change swept over Jackson. He became quiet around me, his taunts and pranks diminishing gradually. At first, I suspected it was the calm before a storm, but days turned into weeks without any incidents. His icy blue eyes seemed less hostile when they met mine. I noticed him more often, observing me from a distance. At lunch, in the corridors, even during the science class we shared, he seemed hesitant, almost as if he wanted to approach me but didn't know how to. Finally, one day he did. He found me in the library, engrossed in a book about astrophysics. "Is it any good?" he asked. I looked up, taken aback to find him there, genuinely interested. That's how our conversations began. Awkward at first, but gradually finding their flow. Jackson started joining me for lunch, bringing 2 coffees from the nearby cafe. He remembered how I liked mine, light with 2 sugars. We'd talk about everything and nothing at all, about the wrestling championships he was nervous for, the MIT application I was working on. There were so many layers to him that I'd never seen, hidden under the tough wrestler exterior. In those moments, I found myself gravitating towards him, his charisma, his vulnerability, his strength. His charm was no longer smoky. It was a warm hearth on a cold day, comforting and inviting. Our relationship evolved subtly, from cautious friendship to something deeper. I found myself thinking about him, his laughter, his thoughtful silences, his icy blue eyes that warmed up when he looked at me. The chemistry between us was undeniable, simmering just beneath the surface, threatening to overflow. One evening, Jackson took me to the school's rooftop. He was unusually quiet, a stark contrast to his normally composed demeanor. As the sun began to set, bathing the rooftop in a golden glow, he finally broke the silence. "Zach," he started, his voice just above a whisper, "I've been trying to understand these feelings, this pull I have towards you. And I think I'm in love with you." His eyes searched mine, seeking answers, forgiveness, acceptance. His confession hung in the air between us, as palpable as the cool evening breeze. I was silent, my heart pounding. I realized that my feelings mirrored his, the strong pull, the inexplicable connection. I think I love you too, Jackson," I managed to stutter. He looked at me, surprise and relief flashing across his face. I leaned in then, closing the gap between us, my lips meeting his in a slow, passionate kiss. In the silence that followed, Jackson looked at me with an intensity that made my heart flutter. Would you like to come to my place?" he asked, his voice shaky with vulnerability. I nodded, my emotions whirling as we descended from the rooftop, our hands tightly interlaced. His house was a modest 2-story, the warm glow of the lights welcoming us. Jackson led me to his bedroom, a space that was uniquely him, a blend of chaos and order. His wrestling trophies lined one shelf, a stack of science fiction novels on the bedside table, A poster of the universe adorned one wall, a testament to our shared love for the cosmos. The room was filled with an electrifying tension, the anticipation palpable. This was new territory for both of us, uncharted and exciting. He looked at me, his eyes soft, questioning, seeking consent. I nodded, giving him a reassuring smile. He gently pulled me towards him, our bodies pressing together as he kissed me again. It was slow and gentle, our lips moving in sync as we explored this new aspect of our relationship. Our breaths hitched, the air between us filled with an unspoken passion. His hands moved to unbutton my shirt, his touch igniting a trail of fire on my skin. I responded by tugging at his shirt, wanting to feel his skin against mine. We moved together, guided by instinct and a deep sense of trust. The world beyond his bedroom ceased to exist. It was just him and me, our bodies intertwined, exploring each other with an intoxicating mix of passion and love. We surrendered ourselves to the rhythm of our hearts, the warmth of our bodies, the sacredness of our shared intimacy. That night we made love for the first time. It was passionate and a little clumsy, a mix of gentle exploration and heated desire. But beyond the physicality of it, it was profoundly emotional, a testament to our shared journey, from enemies to friends to lovers. Lying there afterward, our bodies spent, I looked at Jackson. He was no longer just the school's wrestling champion or my former tormentor. He was the man I had fallen in love with, the man who had bared his soul and his body to me. I held him close, my heart echoing the silent words between us. As I lay there in Jackson's arms, I knew we had found something precious, a love that was deeply ours.